but yeah, the idea is that if you have your own little home base with all of the features of the tools that you use, you don't have to be going and searching throughout all of them throughout the day. You just have like your home base right there. Okay, I want to use this from GitHub. I use it all the time, but it's the only thing that I use. So we take that portion in. And then you do that the same across all of your tools.
Welcome to the Peace Antz podcast. Today we have Will Bauer. He is the co-founder of Hetchr, which is a software company. And Will, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and maybe tell us a little bit about Hetchr?
Yep.
Am I saying Hetchr right?
Yeah, it's Hetchr.
Okay.
You got it. So yeah, I'm Will. I'm one of the co-founders of Hetchr, and we're a software company out of San Francisco, Lyon, and Amsterdam. So we're in 3 countries across the world. We have 5 software engineers at the moment. So we're still a pretty small startup, but yeah, essentially what we're doing is we're building this software platform where you can consolidate your software engineering tools. So if you use GitHub, Jira, Slack, Teams, pretty much just like any communication or project management tool, we take certain features of those and consolidate them into a dashboard. So in a kind of easier way to think of it, imagine like a way improved web aggregator of your everyday tools. So kind of like your home base.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
and I liked your website. Your website does a good job of just like showing kind of what the app, I'm kind of thinking what the app looks like. I think I saw a Twitter feed, like you guys tweeted out that some of what the app will look like. And
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, have you rolled it out yet, or is it's still in development, or some customers using it, or?
Yeah, so it's still in development right now. Let's see, about a year and a half ago, we got started on a completely different kind of project, but it was more like about engineering metrics. And we were, when we built it out and tested it with people, we also had this little side feature that was kind of like a Facebook live feed of all your teammates. So they saw what their teammates were doing and were like, oh, okay, that person's working on that. It's ready. I need to check on it. But they didn't care about the engineering metrics at all. They were like, this is, these are useless. We have them in other platforms. So
Okay,
decided to
interesting.
kind of like
The
dive down.
metrics would be like seeing them working on camera or something.
No. It's like taking your engineering data. So, scraping GitHub, showing how often you're committing, how often
Gotcha.
pull requests are closed, or how long it takes. So it's just kind of like retrospective things of like you looking back at your work and assessing like, are we an efficient team?
Got
But
it.
none of the software engineers really cared about that. That was more for the managers. And the live feed was really what the kind of individual developers locked in on, and they're like, this is cool. This can actually like help me out with my work instead of you helping my manager. So
Gotcha.
yeah, we spent a couple months just kind of diving into the features and figuring out like how can we bring something that software engineers actually would use on a day-to-day basis.
You guys went into the video streaming aspect of it. You kind of pivoted into that. So, but I don't see it now. What happened with the
Oh
video?
no, so there was no video. It
No
was
video.
Yeah, no. So
Oh, my
like your
bad.
Facebook, it's all good. Your Facebook timeline, you have like people posting whatever it comes to their mind.
Yeah.
This was the kind of software engineering equivalent where if I made some actions on my tools, my teammates could see those actions. And sometimes it'll be like stuff that's not very useful, but then you'll come across like, okay, that action right there is triggering me to know that I can do something for my work. So it's kind of like a workflow thing. Like, Facebook, obviously, it's just, everyone's spewing the thoughts out of their head. But
Yeah.
this was, your teammates getting a live view at your work so that they can react appropriately to it.
And it was automated, so they're not posting what they're doing. It's just like seeing, oh, it did this and it posted. So it kind of is a live update feed of what everyone's doing.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Awesome.
software engineering is one of those kind of unique fields where people are, their tools are kind of this extension, or like it's just very data driven. So like everything that you're doing is on the computer. And so you don't really have to like manually enter that you have done something. It's just is automatic through the software.
Yeah, heck yeah.
Like, yeah, I'm sure like with plenty of other fields, like there's in-person conversations and things, but a lot of it can just be done online. So
Yeah, it's the
yeah,
beauty of automation, man. It's like,
yeah, it's crazy.
yeah, it's super crazy.
Yeah.
So, what would you say your customer base? And I guess it's like any sort of technology company working on some sort of like doing software, doing some sort of coding of some sort.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, the software engineering is a pretty broad field, but the companies that our tool is really for is for kind of smaller to mid-sized companies, and
Cool.
they're like their engineering team is growing, and that's where they're starting to feel the most problems of their tools of like, how are we organizing our team's workflow? They're not like a Google or an Apple where they just have this established process, and they can't really build a tool like ours on their own without it costing a ton of money.
Got it.
So, we kind of fit into that like pre getting giant, so it's like right before they're scaling up, or so probably like 10 to 500 or 1,000 person company is about the limit.
That's really awesome. So do you guys have competitors? Who do you know who are your competitors if you have any?
Yeah, so there was this company that was bought by Citrix. It was called Sappho, and they did a very similar thing, or I guess they do technically, but it's Citrix now. Very similar thing. It's called micro apps. So I don't know if you saw our website, but the little widgets that we're making, we call them atoms. They're essentially micro apps that you are deciding like, I want this in my dashboard. I don't want this one in there. They were going down the same path, but not with software engineering. Um, so yeah, there's a few others, but really most of them spend most of their focus on other parts of the company and not software engineering.
Got it.
Um,
So
yes,
Hetchr focuses more on the software engineering aspect of this, like the sharing apps and updating app space.
exactly. Yeah, the kind of ironic part is like, software engineers build these apps, so why haven't they built one for themselves? But it's just this kind of like massive undertaking to build it out and maintain it. So if it breaks, you have to divert your attention to it, um, and that's why you need like a dedicated company like ours. That's all we do.
Because what it sounds like, this is what it sounds like from what I like read about the company. It sounds
Mhm.
like the apps work by connecting to whatever, coding platform you're using. And so your platform has to be able to interface with all these other platforms. And you can actually update things from your platform. So you can put in stuff from your platform and update it to there, and then put in more stuff here, and
Yeah,
so it gives you like a lot of, you can move really fast between different platforms and work. I'm not really sure. I've never coded
yeah.
with a
No,
team, so I'm not sure what it looks like,
no, it's
but
definitely harder to like kind of comprehend too when you aren't in those shoes exactly.
yeah, yeah.
Um, but yeah, the idea is that if you have your own little home base with all of the features of the tools that you use, you don't have to be going and searching throughout all of them throughout the day. You just have like your home base right there. Okay, I want to use this from GitHub. I use it all the time, but it's the only thing that I use. So we take that portion in, and then you do that the same across all of your tools. But yeah, for us, it leaves this giant kind of you know technical task of whatever tool companies are using these days. We have to integrate that in, And the cool part is that we can just keep up with the trends of what people are using, and these companies don't really have to. They can just use our platform and then be like, oh, that's available, sure, I'll try that out.
Got it. Got it. Yeah. So you guys must have a solid software team to be able to keep up with the trends and be able to interface with all these. And do you guys actually connect with them personally, like other software developers from other companies, or do they just have the APIs that you guys interface with? So everything's kind of already done in a sense.
um, I mean, if I understood what you mean is like we're building the API connections to these tools, so that we're
Got
kind
it.
of like the center hub. And then the kind of long-term vision is like, how can we, bring some kind of next level steps to the integrations of like, what can you do with 10 different tools all connected in one spot? Can you, automate it from one to another, and like really just make the software engineering process just all about like your coding and not having to think of like too much more than that.
That definitely sounds like next level stuff. That's
Well,
really cool.
I mean, it's all hypothetical of like,
Yeah, you guys are still gonna roll out the first thing. So yeah, do you guys have a lot of orders right now pending, like for our customers waiting on that to roll out and stuff? Do you have any updates on when that could possibly come out?
yeah, so we've been focusing mostly on building lately, but recently we started just taking some pre-orders, and we got our first two last week. So it's just a baby step, but
Congrats, that's
getting
awesome.
there. Yeah, no, I mean, it's not, we're not making like a big push to take a bunch of sales because
Yeah,
you know
but still, I mean, getting a few sales is like, I don't know, it's very meaningful because I I sold like one Etsy product and I was like super stoked about it. And it was just
yeah.
like, a stupid little thing, like super insignificant, but it's still like, it's like, wow, someone random out there wanted to buy this. Like, that's super cool.
Yeah, it's like just the significance of it is pretty cool.
Congrats, man.
um
That's super awesome.
yeah, I appreciate it, and congrats on your Etsy sale.
Thanks,
What
dude.
what did you sell?
Oh man, it's the super random thing. It's a SecuX cryptocurrency wallet holder, like,
Oh,
and it's
nice.
a trick container. So you spin it and then it opens. So it's kind
That's
of
sweet.
it's kind of weird. It's like super random.
Did you make it, or were you just reselling it?
I 3D printed it.
Oh
So it's
shit,
all
nice.
I've designed it and all that shit.
Nice. If you have more, you should put links to those in the video.
Yeah, I'll link it in the video. You check
Yeah,
it
maybe
out.
get that second one right there.
Was yeah, no, for sure. For sure. Get more orders. Thanks for the plug, Will.
Yeah, of course. I'm doing the plug for you.
So how did you get involved in co-founding the company?
Okay, so let's see. It kind of started in 2017 or so. Um, I was messing around on like some cryptocurrency type chat rooms, and met this guy Morgan, who's my co-founder in Lyon now. And I lived in France for a year when I was 12. He
Oh,
lives in the town that I went to for a year.
oh,
So we just like
okay.
kind of mutually connected over that, and we wanted to, yeah, we just wanted to like build something cool. And the original idea that we started with, we just gradually shifted more and more away from like the first idea we had made, which was some kind of company-wide cryptocurrency bot, like tip bots. So like imagine if your boss wanted to reward you with like a coffee, they just send you like, the equivalent of like company points or whatever that can be redeemed for um, money or gifts or whatever you wanted.
And you do it with a cryptocurrency like blockchain.
Yeah,
Uh,
that was the original idea. And
that's cool,
then
man.
we realized that all these companies actually just don't want another tool though. So, but like that's part of the process, is that you can the key is that you don't build it out before uh you've talked to people that you want to sell it to or anything like that, because sometimes these ideas sound amazing in your head and you're like, that would be so awesome, I would totally use that. But then there's just like no one else on earth that actually would use it, and
Yeah.
you saved yourself a massive headache of like building it out and then being like, oh my god, we just wasted so much money on this.
That's why I'm really liking this 3D printing thing though, because you can just prototype something, make it, and like sell it, and it's
That's
like,
right.
yeah, very little upfront investment. And then if you sell a lot, then you can, mass produce it or something like that. That's my plan at least. I'm still working on some products, but
Yeah, no, just like messing around on it.
yeah,
Does it
totally.
only print plastic or is it other things too?
It's just plastic.
Yeah.
It's different. It can do different types of plastic. You could do like a really rubbery plastic or like a hard plastic. But yeah, but there's other 3D printers that could do metal and stuff like that, which is cool, but those are really expensive.
Yeah, those are kind of the next level.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So, how did you well, what's it like leading a small startup?
It's pretty cool. I think that a lot of the other founders that I've talked to also recognize that when the team is smaller, there's a little bit different energy compared to a big company. And I did a desk job in college, where like internships in the summer, and I couldn't stand being at a cubicle every day.
Yeah.
So it's just like in my blood to not want to go towards that direction. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's awesome. Like it's a total roller coaster because you have one week that you're like, we're crushing it, and then the next week you're like, oh my god, it's all crumbling down, and then the next week you're like, wait, we're better than that last time we thought we were crushing it. So you get used to the emotional roller coaster, and you feel a bit more alive while you're working.
Yeah, it sounds like investing in cryptocurrency.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, so what's like one of the biggest challenges you'd say you've maybe, yeah, one of the biggest challenges you faced at Hetchr?
um I think for us it's been our speed of development. Like we're trying to get all these tools as fast as possible. And the before you built something, you can only get like verbal confirmation that someone wants it. And people lie quite a lot because they don't want to tell
Yeah.
you your baby is ugly. They'll like see the product and be like, oh yeah, totally, we'll use it. So you have to use like, which we're starting to do, is like you have to use like, okay, well, we pay for it right now. And that's where the truth kind of comes out.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's when
No.
the objections show up and they're like, oh my god, well, you need that. So um yeah, it's cool. I kind of forgot what the question was. I was going on a
Oh, the biggest challenge. So,
challenge.
keeping up with the software development.
Yeah.
I'd imagine that that makes sense that it would be the biggest challenge because you guys are trying to keep up with all the tools that people are using, and you're trying to, make it's hard enough to make one app work, right? But you're trying to make it work with all these other apps. So,
Yeah, definitely. It's yeah, the technical challenge is the biggest thing because we have so many tools to integrate, and we also have to, not every team uses the same ones. So we have to like kind of pick and choose who's, which ones are the most popular at the moment, which ones will bring the most value to people so we can get orders right away. Um, but yeah, it's kind of one of those things that it's going to take quite some time to get to what is in our head as like the final version. Um, Whereas if we were a large company, we could just click our fingers and be like, boom, we got our final version in 3 months or whatever.
yeah, just throw money at it and you got it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, at the end of the day, people got to make these things. So it's
Yeah,
you're doing the hard work right now. So hopefully it pays off.
I think
Um,
so. I think so. We've done our homework.
yeah. So how did you guys get into hand cream? Because I saw you guys posted some
Oh,
hand cream stuff. What was that all about?
you didn't know that was an April Fool's joke?
Oh,
Really?
oh
Oh
my God,
gosh, come
no.
on,
I
man.
just see hand cream and I'm like, huh.
Yeah, no, we launched a hand cream that supposedly allows you to code twice as fast.
Yeah. I'm like, oh,
And
that's a funny little thing.
yeah, it was fun. We launched it on a bunch of like product websites where you're supposed to launch like real things.
Yeah.
And we got plenty of people that were like, that's not possible. There's no way, like It's like, just look at the date.
Yeah, no, okay. If this is March, okay, March 31st. Yeah, you're right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess I just saw it now. I didn't pay attention to the date. I was just like, oh, hand cream. Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. We got a sizable number of signups that day just because of our hand cream.
That's brilliant. And so there is no hand cream though, just to be clear.
No. You know what? In the future, like for kind of our early testers and like the early people using our platform while it's young, we might make like a hand cream bottle just as a joke and send it to them and be like, thank you.
Yeah, no, that would be a great joke.
Yeah, but we won't promise that we're gonna, they can code faster. It'll just be a little like memorabilia. Like I was one of the first testers of the product.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great idea. Whose idea was that?
It was a combination of my co-founder Morgan and I.
Cool.
I think I forget. Oh yeah, it was like we were just thinking of random jokes or like pranks to do for our team, and then it kind of turned into like, oh, we could do this publicly even. But yeah, we even told the entire team that we were pivoting and that we're done with what we're currently building and we're switching to hand cream.
So you got everyone.
Yeah, I mean, all of our software engineers understood right away that they're like, no, that's not.
I was like, oh, okay. Yeah. I know what day it is.
But we did we tricked one person. I was like, oh my God, we are.
So, trick this guy right here.
Yeah, I got you. Even like a month later, I got you.
Yeah, a month later, super delayed. What's your average day like at Hetchr?
So
is there an average day?
I don't think there's really an average day. Part of that's what I like is that there's, you have to wear multiple hats, and if something needs to be done, you go do it. But let's see. So pretty much everyone is in Europe. So, we're 9 hours apart, meaning that we have 7 a.m. to noon at the latest, probably. So maybe more like 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. really as like working hours together.
Okay.
So, my day is waking up early, getting coffee.
Yeah, for real.
And yeah, usually chatting with like my co-founders on getting like an update of what's happened throughout the day.
Cool.
Because, by then it's 3 p.m. in Europe. And yeah, lately I've been doing calls with, CTOs and VPs of engineering where potential customers essentially, and first hearing about how their team works together, finding out all their tools. It's like a bit of an interview, but people are super happy to share their problems and things like that. And yeah, once I've done that, I show them what we're building, allow them to give me feedback, if it's something they would use, try to really like dig into it instead of having them be like, yeah, I would totally use it. That is the part where people,
yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. That's part of like where I look for the problems at the beginning is like, do they even have problems? And then if it's a yes, then it's like, okay, let's, try to let them project themselves using our tool, see where it goes.
And do you do these in person or is this Zoom meetings?
Zoom.
For sure.
Yeah. And I mean, that's part of the awesome part about Zoom is like, I've been able to do these calls with people that I probably would have never been able to talk to like before. They're at home all day doing all these Zoom things.
Yeah, yeah.
You would have had to either come up to San Francisco or I'd drive down to Menlo Park for this podcast. Like,
yeah, no, and it's just like, I'm kind of busy right now, it's like no one has time for that.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, no, it's cool. That's big reason why I started, because it was like, well, everyone's home, I could just literally Zoom with anyone and just make a podcast. Who cares? It's all good.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So do you guys use Hetchr yourself for your own software stuff?
Yeah, I mean, well, right now it's not fully done, so we can't use it yet, but a lot of what we're building out is for ourselves. And I think that's a pretty key thing for, building a product. I mean, you can, I don't know, like imagine you started a company for like women's clothing or something. you really have to have a close circle or a lot of people giving you input because you're not the ones wearing the clothes, right? You need to have a lot of information coming in. So it's a lot easier if it's like a tool that you would use yourself to build. And we've kept it in mind throughout the thing, throughout the process. But there are definitely parts where we have to put ourselves in the shoes of other people because we are on the small end of the 10 to 1,000 person company.
Yes. Yes.
So we have to kind of factor in what's this like if you have a bigger team. What's this like if you have multiple different projects instead of just one, which is like what we're doing. So, but yeah, no, we're excited. I was talking to one of the co-founders last week, and he's like showing me the Excel sheet that he uses to essentially replace like what a product is building.
Oh,
And it was
okay.
this massive list of like tasks and like how many hours this can be devoted to.
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't wait till we have our own product because this is, a nightmare right now.
No,
I'm
that's
excited.
cool. So you guys are going to be able to kind of use your own product and update it as you go and just like, make your own. So yeah, no, it's cool. It's like a nice little data cycle, feedback cycle thing.
Yeah, yeah. It helps take some of the guesswork out because you're in the shoes.
For sure, for sure. So you mentioned cryptocurrencies earlier, and I've definitely been getting a lot more into cryptocurrencies recently.
Oh
Like
yeah.
it's yeah, no, I've been kind of just a lot of time just like trying to learn more about it. And
When did
yeah,
you start getting into it?
February. Well, I really started getting into it February, and then like spent a lot more time on it. But I started like when Robinhood opened up their Bitcoin, Ethereum stuff. I was like, oh yeah, all right, let me get some. So and that was working out like really well. So I'm like, all right, you know what? Let me let me put a
Yeah.
little more in.
Have
And
you looked at like the previous year's cycles and things like that? Like how these coins have like interacted over the last 5 years or so? Like
yeah, no, I
the
mean,
giant
I
boom and bust.
that's kind of what made me get into it because I was like, what the fuck? Like I
Yeah, it's
wish I
like
got into this like when I originally thought about getting into it.
yeah, it's like plus 50,000%, minus 98%, and there's just massive ups and massive downs.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, you definitely don't want to be on the top of that cycle coming straight down. So
Yeah,
I don't know.
100%. The only so what made me feel a lot safer about it was the fact that institutions were buying into it more. So I just feel like that'll hold the price. It won't crash like it did in the past because, but that could be wrong too because once it starts going down, then the institutions are like, phew, they just move their money somewhere else, and then you got
Yeah.
a real crash. So
Yeah,
I
they'll
don't know either way, but I think
they,
institutions are holding it though.
I think some, but I don't know. I don't know how these large board meetings are going where they're like, we just bought $1 billion of Bitcoin, and like how the shareholders respond to that, and they're like, what are you doing?
No,
But
there's people who are like, what are you doing not getting Bitcoin too?
it's true.
So that's there's like a fuss over that as well.
Yeah. I don't know. It would be very hard. Like if I was probably one of those CEOs or whoever's, buying for their institution, it would be really hard to convince people that it's a good buy after it went from 3,000 to 50 or 60,000 in a span of 13 months. That is very hard to convince people that's a good buy. But um, I don't know. Long term, I think the cryptocurrencies are going to be really cool.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
I I can picture our government having the US dollar on a cryptocurrency, but I don't know how they're going to phase out cash or anything like that. But
Yeah, I don't think the phasing out will come like super heavy. I think that'll take some time, like a lot of time, but I think I mean the US government is already like I feel like or I think they're the FBI, they're like one of the larger stakeholders in cryptocurrency. And
mhm.
I think, they're or I guess it's from confiscating it probably, or something like that.
Probably confiscating all the like Silk Road Bitcoin.
Yeah, but the thing about it is you
I
can
thought they'd
actually
sell
track
it.
a lot of these transactions. So it's like pseudo anonymous.
Yeah. Like, you know, the money's moved, but you don't necessarily know who's tied to it.
Right.
Yeah.
But then once they find you offloading it into cash, that's when they get you.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
So
I've heard plenty about like FBI having hordes and hordes of it because of everything they've confiscated. And I thought that they would have sold it all by now, but you know, the
I
whole
guess they do sell it in batches. Like rich
uh,
people can come and buy it and shit like that.
yeah.
But no, yeah, I guess they're probably hodling it, man.
That's awesome.
But so did you invest in cryptocurrency at all, or did you stay away from, because you what were you doing in chat rooms?
Yeah, I was dabbling a bit in 2017.
Did
I
you
mean,
get out completely or did you hodl?
I did get out completely.
Oh, okay, okay.
Um, but in 2013, I think I bought my first Bitcoin, but I just didn't have money at the time.
Yeah.
And then I sold it maybe a year later or something for like pennies. Not
Yeah.
pennies,
Oh
but you
no.
know, I think I sold it at 700 or something.
Oh, that's dope.
But no, I've been like in and out on cryptocurrencies for a bit, and I know how these cycles go. So I'm a little cautious. I wouldn't really be buying too much right this moment, but because
Yeah.
like I don't know, stuff is going crazy. Like I just saw Dogecoin going to 70 cents nearly almost.
So that is a big part of what got me more into the crypto, because Dogecoin just like it keeps like I bought in at like 1 cent and I had like 40,000 and it was
Damn.
selling it on the way up though. Um, so I still have a like, I don't know, like 4,000 Doge. But you know, if I had 40,000, that would have been like, oh shit, that's a good
Yeah.
gain. But it gave me more money to put into the cryptocurrency space, because that was like kind of play money that I put it originally into the, you know, when Robinhood opened up.
Mhm.
So I was like, okay, let's see what happens. And so it's kind of just continuing. What's the best way to contact you or get involved in your services?
Yeah, you can reach me at will@hetchr.com. Uh,
Cool.
yeah, I'm super happy to take calls with anyone that's interested in what we're building. Um, we're going to be fundraising pretty soon, so you know, if someone that is watching is also interested in investing, feel free to contact me too.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for hopping on the podcast, Will. We'll hopefully talk again soon.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for reaching out, and it's been a pleasure being on Peace Antz podcast.
All right, baby. Peace, Antz out.
See you, bud.